Hey, it's me, Kathy. Welcome to another play day. I had in my freezer some cooked chicken that I diced up and a lot of other stuff. I had some onions, some peppers. I had some corn left over from when we made the pizza on last Friday and some black beans and some other stuff. And today we are and in my freezer I always keep things to rework food with. So I had some empanada dough discs and we're going to use those to make Southwest chicken empanadas. So let's do it. We've got some canola oil over medium heat, and to that we are going to add some peppers. The only pepper I had was an orange one. You can use any color you want. And some sweet onion. Those are going in. Stir them around. Season with some salt and pepper. Some ground cumin. Some chili powder. Season them up. And some smoked paprika. I'm also going to add some of that True Line seasoning that I like so much. This has garlic and cilantro in it, and I am out of cilantro, so that's going to help. We're going to cook these down till they soften up nicely. Our vegetables are softening up nicely, and now it's time to add in some garlic, a couple of cloves. Stir that around to incorporate. We're going to cook this off for another 1 or 2 minutes till it gets nice and garlicky fragrant. Now in goes our chicken. Incorporate that in with our vegetables. Next thing that goes in is some petite diced tomatoes with green chilies. This is not the Rotel brand, but it's sort of the same thing, I think. And we're going to stir that in. We do not want our empanada filling to be too wet, so we're going to let this cook down for a little bit. And I had a couple of ears of corn from when we made the pizza. That's going in too. Cut it off the cob and in we go. And that's probably going to exude some liquid as well. So we're going to keep this cooking down until we get to a good consistency for our empanada filling. We are almost as cooked down as we should be. And at this point, I'm going to add in some spice. This is chipotle and adobo puree. That's going to kick it up a bit. I'm going to stir that in and keep going for a few more minutes. It's probably going to be about 20 minutes total. We have reached the very little liquid point, and I have turned off the heat, and now it's time to add in some drained and rinsed black beans. This is a lot of filling, and I only have 10 empanada dough discs, so I don't know if we may have to convert this into something else. We'll see if we have any left over. Not all empanadas had cheese, but I had some of that habanero cheddar left over, so that's going in. I like things cheesy, as you may or may not know. We're going to stir this around until it's all melted. Then we're going to let this cool, and we're going to build our empanadas. While our mixture is cooling, we're going to make a crema to serve with our empanadas. And that requires some sour cream, some salt and pepper, or just salt if you want, and some lime juice. We'll stir that. Need to thin it out with a little cream or half and half, so we can drizzle that or make it into a dipping sauce with good consistency. All mixed up, good dipping or drizzling consistency. and it tastes really good, creamy and limey, and we're gonna save that for when our empanadas are done. We have laid out our dough wrapper, our dough disc, and well, we're gonna top it with some of our filling. I don't know if I gave you a close-up of this, but it's really good looking. Put it in the center. That might be a little too much. I think it is. You do want it as filled as possible, but you also want it to be as sealable as possible and closable. We're going to help seal the edges with a little brush of egg wash just around. That'll help it stay closed. And then we're going to bring up the sides. I like to cup this in my hand to keep it in shape and start from the end and pinch, 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 pinch. Come on, edges, stay together. We'll start it from this end. Okay. Pinched. The papers they put between these particular empanada doughs didn't cover the whole thing, so the edges, sides of one side are a little bit dry. So we're gonna have to make sure that we really seal this, press, press, press and press and press. And we can seal these with a fork and push down the filling in the middle just to make sure it's rounded and formed. And we could crimp this like this. Or you could just seal the edges using a fork. And here we have our first Southwest chicken enchilada. And we're going to continue with the rest of them. And then we're going to egg wash them and bake them. Okay, we got 10 and they came out pretty good. This last one though dried out a bit, so I'm going to crimp this one with a fork instead, and hopefully that'll seal the edges real tight. It's dried out. I imagine we're going to have a bust out on this one. But we're going to do this, try this. And I did have filling left over, quite a bit of it. So that's going to be a fun thing to play with later on. And now we're going to put them in a preheated oven at 400 degrees. Because empanadas are better eaten right after they're cooked, I'm only going to cook 5. And the other 5, I put on a sheet. I'm going to stick these in the freezer just like they are right now. And when they're frozen, you can put them in a bag or a box or wrap them up and just pull them out one at a time and cook them and eat them. But before we go in the oven, we're going to egg wash these guys. Egg washed and ready to go. They're probably going to take about 25 or 30 minutes, so let's see how they go. Our Southwest empanadas are out of the oven, nicely browned and cooked through. I forgot to put little vent holes in them before I put them in the oven, and I should have done that if I'm trying to teach anybody anything. But anyway, a couple minutes in, I remembered, so I went in with some scissors and popped a little hole. And the one with the dried skin is the brownest, but we also had some seepage. Whoops. We also had some seepage, as I suspected, and a little bit out of some of them. But now we're gonna pop them onto a plate and garnish them up and serve them up. And there's what they look like close up. Nice. They're gonna taste so good. That filling was really delicious. Here you have them on our Mexican plate, my favorite Mexican plate. And now we're gonna take some of our crema and stir it up and give it a little drizzle. And like I said, you can use this to dip instead if you want to, but I'm going to eat these with a knife and fork, so that's not going to happen with me. And I had, when we made the pizza, well, after I still had some growing in the refrigerator, some sliced up scallions. Well, I sliced them up. I store scallions in, I've put them in the refrigerator in a jar, and they grow, and they stay good for a long time. And there you have it, our Southwest chicken empanadas, and they're going to be good for dinner. Thank you for joining me while I played with my leftovers. And before we go, I want you to see the inside of this bad boy. Vegetable-y, cheesy, tomatoey, and you can see the steam rising off of it. And that's going to be so yummy. And you know what the outside looks like already, but I did want to show you what the inside looks like. And thank you again. We'll see you again soon. Oh, Friday's on St. Patrick's Day this year, so wait till you see what's going to happen.